Hi, in this video we're going to be looking at part 2 of the IELTS speaking test. We're going to think a bit about the planning process for a specific task card. Now, in the previous video, we actually thought about how to best use that 1 minute preparation time. So I thought it would be a good idea in this video to really think about how I would plan my ideas and how I would take notes for a specific task. Now, the specific task card we're going to look at is this one here. Now you can see it's asking us to describe a tourist attraction you enjoyed visiting. So the kind of topic category there is place, which is a very common category of task. You will often be asked to describe a place in part 2 of the IELTS speaking test. So it's a really good idea to start building up your ideas to focus on this category. And this is one idea you could build with: a tourist attraction you enjoyed visiting. Now you can see there's also 4 cues there to help you come up with ideas. And if you remember from the previous video, the key really here is to come up with at least one idea for each of those 4 cues. Now you can see there the first cue is what this tourist attraction is. So the idea first. You've got to come up with that quickly. And like I said before, the more preparation you do before you go into the test, the more likely you are to come up with that idea very quickly, making that decision and writing down what it is. Then you can see the second cue is when and why you visited it. So really it's kind of 2 cues there, when and why. But then you need to be writing down an idea or 2 to fit with that cue. And then what you did there, and again writing down some notes or short notes on an idea to cover that cue. And finally, that really quite important cue at the end: explain why you enjoyed visiting this tourist attraction. You can always see this one's always connected with feelings. You see here, it's why you enjoyed visiting it. So it's a really good one to kind of get to. Like I said in the previous video, when we think about kind of how you're using that 1 minute preparation time, you've got to make sure you get to that kind of final cue so you can speak about your feelings a bit more and impress the examiner with some really good use of adjectives. Now, what I'll do now is kind of show you how I would plan my own answer for this task card. And this should help you to kind of think of the way that you might plan your own answer for this task card as well. And you could even take some of the ideas that I've got or some of the vocabulary that I'm using as well. You might not be able to use the exact idea because you might not have visited the place that I have visited before. But again, it's kind of going to help you to come up with ideas, hopefully. So, first thing I need to do is write down some short notes, right? Some key ideas for that first cue, which is what this tourist attraction is. Now, for me, the tourist attraction that I'm going to describe is the Sequoia National Park. Now, this is a national park in California in the USA. It's quite a famous one. I'm also going to add another idea to this. Like I said, if you do have time, or if you can, you should write down maybe 2 ideas to help you keep speaking more. Now, there is a specific kind of very popular attraction within this national park that is very famous, and it's a tree, a very famous tree, in fact a massive tree, and it's got a name. The name of this tree is General Sherman, so I might write down that. So I've got those 2 key ideas there, and of course when I'm speaking in that 2 minutes, whilst I'm speaking to the examiner after the 1 minute preparation, I would go into lots more detail, and that will be in the next video when I will show you the full answer after the planning. But there you go, it's just quite simple there, nice and quickly. I could write down these 2 ideas and then I'd move on to the second point. Now, The second cue there, of course, was when and why you visited it. So, of course, I want to think about just quickly writing down an idea for when. And for me, well, this was when I was around 12 years old. So I'll just write those keywords down, around 12 years old. Okay, not writing down too much, not trying to write down full sentences. There's no time for this, right? 1 minute, I'm going to be rushing to even get this down. But then I've also got to say why I visited it. And again, I don't want to go into too much detail, but the main idea there, and really that gives us 2 ideas for that 1 cue there. But why I visited, well, it was a family holiday. So I might write down those 2 words, family holiday. So I've got those ideas there, and now I can move on to the next cue. Now, the next cue is what you did there. Okay. Now, of course, I need at least 1 idea for this. So the first idea would be that I hiked on a trail. Now I can abbreviate that a bit and say hiked on trail. Okay, and I can write down those 3 words so I can kind of look at my notes and remember what I want to talk about and go into more detail. And also, maybe there was something else, if I have to have a second idea here. Actually, when I went on this trip, we had a bit of a close call with a bear, which means we almost encountered a bear. I'm not sure what kind of bear it was, whether it was a black bear or a grizzly bear. I don't really know, but we did have a bit of a close call with a bear, which I will explain in more detail when I give the full answer. But there we go. I'll just write down those keywords there. Close call with a bear, or close call with bear. Nice kind of clear idea there, so I'll be able to expand on that a bit more when I give my full answer. And then finally, I can move on to that 4th cue, which is explain why I enjoyed visiting the tourist attraction. Now, again, I need some key ideas. First key idea here is the awe-inspiring scenery. So here I'm actually thinking of a nice adjective to use as well as the same time as an idea. The idea is really the scenery, what it looks like. I mean, that's why I enjoyed it. It looked amazing. And also, not only that, I can be more specific on this actual tree that I mentioned at the beginning, General Sherman, if you remember. I can, the idea of having incredible trees. They were incredible. They were extremely large. So we've got those 2 key ideas there. And again, I'll be able to go into lots more detail when I'm giving my full answer. So there's the ideas. And you can see I've actually ended up with 2 ideas for each of those cues. And it's pretty realistic that I could do that within the 1 minute preparation time. You can see I haven't written down too much. It's just the key ideas. Haven't tried to write down full sentences. This would be definitely a waste of time to do that. Now, one other thing that we could do if we had time in that 1 minute is think of a few more kind of words that we could include when we're explaining these ideas. Now, if I think again about those 4 cues and I think about some kind of vocabulary that I'd like to use to kind of show the examiner when I'm speaking during the 2 minute speaking time, maybe for that first one where I'm describing Sequoia National Park and General Sherman, maybe I could describe some of the park and I could use some phrases or key words like huge mountains and deep canyons and massive trees. If I had time, I might write down those keywords as well, just to remind myself to use them. But again, I could do the same for the next idea. Well, of course, this was a family holiday when I was around 12 years old, but I could think of an adjective to describe that holiday, and I could use the adjective unforgettable. Fitting kind of the context of that family holiday. And then I could move on to the 3rd idea, which was about what I did there. Hiked on a trail, had a close call with a bear, and again, think of some nice adjectives to use here. Maybe stunning to describe the hike, and maybe shocking to describe the close call with a bear. And then move to the final point, which is explain why I enjoyed visiting this tourist attraction. Well, again, I mentioned that it was awe-inspiring scenery and there were incredible trees there, but I could use another adjective here. Write another adjective down that applies to this trip, and I can use the adjective inspirational. Now, that might become clearer why I chose that adjective when you listen to my full answer in the video next week. But it will become quite clear why this holiday has inspired me to try to do something else in the future. But there we go. I mean, we've got lots of ideas there. And of course, this has taken much longer than 1 minute to do because I'm kind of explaining it as we're looking at it on the screen. But if you're in the real test within that 1 minute preparation time, it could be possible to write down this amount of ideas within that 1 minute with practice. Of course, you would have to have this kind of preparation before the test and practice using that 1 minute preparation time. But then we have these ideas, and when the examiner asks us to start speaking, we'll be able to use the topic card and these notes to help us keep speaking for the full 2 minutes and hopefully kind of impress the examiner with some of the vocabulary that we wrote down in our notes. Also making sure that we expand on each of those ideas as much as we can before we move on to the next one. Now, of course, like I said, in next week's video, I will be showing you the full answer for this topic card. And it's going to be a really high level answer that would achieve a band 9 or around a band 9 in the actual test. Of course, it's difficult to say it's a band 9 part 2 answer because, of course, you get a band score for the whole test, not just part 2. You get a band score for all 3 parts put together. But it's the kind of answer that a band 9 level student would give. So it should be useful. Now, hopefully you can take some of these ideas and use it as, well, inspiration to kind of write your own notes and get your own answer ready for this task card. But yes, like I said, hopefully it is helpful for you and you can use it to kind of help you with your own answers. If you did find this video useful, then do remember to click the like button. It does help. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But there we go. I'll see you in next week's video when we'll be looking at the full answer for this topic card. Thanks for watching and see you next time.